Welcome you all to new episode of Sportsy, Let's Talk Sports. Today we have again an interesting character with us. He's a great friend, a complete cricket maniac. He's a IT guy when he started his career with, and from there he moved on to follow his passion with sports and specifically cricket and analytics. Worked with sports tech, worked with Bharat FC Football Club, even though he's a cricket guy, but worked with a football club, worked with Catapult Sport to head the South Asia business, working in multiple aspects of sports, and currently looking into the whole sports development and aspects of a company called Fanisko, based in Canada. Please welcome a great friend, Mr. Venugopal. Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and follow our handle Sportsy Says across all social media platforms. Please help us spread the word about Sportsy. Let's talk sports. Do subscribe on Sportsy Says. Hey, hi Venu.
Hey Sid, how are you doing?
Great to have you on Sportsy. Let's talk sports.
That's what we love doing.
Exactly, that is what we love doing.
Sports.
Just talk about sports. Yes. Earlier we spoke about the whole sports technology, fan engagement. It was amazing to listen to your experience as well as the knowledge sharing, which was probably very important for the aspirants for the industry to know how they should look at as a career. Now, going to from the career perspective to you following your own passion of playing cricket, and not only in India, after going to Canada also you're playing. You also went ahead and did your level 1 coaching course from ICC, stayed in Dubai and completed that course. So just want to talk to you about how cricket has evolved, and again, technology as a base, but how cricket has evolved with technology from where it was in 50s and 60s and 70s, 80s to where we are today. So if you can just walk us through the whole journey of cricket with technology.
Yep. So I think, that's a fair point. There's so much of tech being used in cricket now, and it's phenomenal. From where we were 20 years back. And again, it's still a sport, mind you. It's still played on ground as a sport, but there is so much tech revolving around it that it makes the entire viewing experience as well as playing experience very surreal, right? It's kind of very unreal in terms of how much data can be derived. And if you see cricket, it's a very stat and data oriented sport, data driven sport, and same with football as well. I mean, somebody told me that there are about more than 300,000 data points that can be derived over a football game, as an average football game. So same with cricket as well. There are so many data points that you can derive from various aspects of looking at it. So I think the first thing that definitely changed was the way broadcasting evolved in cricket in the 90s and 2000s, right? Earlier, there used to be, and again, I wanted to quote Harsha Bhogle here once again, when he spoke about the 80s, even BBC, when used to cover cricket, there used to be 4 cameras, standard cameras, and, there used to be just one angle with which you cover the back of a batsman and the front of a bowler and vice versa. Right? That was how it was. But then with cricket evolving as a sport, and, especially with India becoming the nation that it was with regards to winning the 83 World Cup and then coming to, the World Series and everything, So now there was a huge following, and in India, anything comes with huge numbers, right? Specifically with our population. So with cricket, it was astronomical. So then people started covering test matches professionally, right? With 26 cameras and a camera literally everywhere. And now with modern day broadcasting, there's so much of things going on with regards to different angles, different ways of showing things. Not just from a viewer's, from a game standpoint, but even educating the viewer about what's happening in the game as well, right? From a technique standpoint and stuff. So that has changed a lot in cricket with regards to technology. Video analysis has come in a big way, from the early 2000s to now, there's so much of data being driven into cricket, especially with these T20 leagues. Every single ball is being analyzed from 10 different aspects. What length was being bowled, what was the field which was set, which batsman was playing, how much room to give him, was it a slower ball, what is an outswinger, was it an in-swinger, blah, blah, blah. So there's so much data around cricket that, it becomes literally, like I said, how do we make sense out of so much of data and, get that information that we need from that data, right? It's not about producing too much of data. It's all about producing the relevant data. So that's how it has changed. Now the video analyst, earlier it used to be one guy traveling with the team. Now it's about one guy traveling with the team, coding the team games. When I say coding, it's kind of tagging what's happening on the field, versus a call center kind of a setup in the back room. Getting more information from there about whom you're going to play next. For example, if a KKR is playing a Delhi Capitals team, say today is it's Thursday, on a Saturday. By Thursday evening, you will get all the reports of what both the teams had done in the previous games. You'll see trends emerging out of it. You will get a batsman and bowler strength and weakness report. You'll get videos floating on cloud. So there are so much of data-driven insights which have come into technology with cricket. And now, even when I spoke about Catapult, even the wearable tech, it has become huge in cricket. Now people have started using specific metrics to look at injuries for fast bowlers. And Cricket Australia does it in a really big way, specifically, and even ECB does it. And now India has also started using wearable tech over the last couple of years to track how much a player is undergoing as load on his body. And Patrick Farhad, the physio whom we had a couple of seasons back, he was instrumental in getting all this knowledge and technology into Indian cricket as well. So now, you will know how much Jasprit Bumrah is bowling, as well as putting from a body load standpoint into his body day in and day out in every series. And, the challenging part with cricket is that there are 3 formats. So, and every format requires a different load on the body altogether, So Test cricket is all about longevity as well as, endurance, whereas T20 is all about energy and, getting that crash course of your body being, through a completely different thing altogether for those 3 hours, right? So it's all classified as volume versus intensity. So, how much volume your body is going through versus how much intensity you are doing in specific zones, or specific games. So that's how you'll measure your load on your body through these wearable technologies. And I think that's coming up in a big way. And a guy from Cricket Australia, spoke about this, and, that it was really intriguing to know how they are managing the load for a Mitchell Starc or a Pat Cummins and stuff. And, because it's so challenging that you have the Australian summer starting with a test match, and then in between you have the big bash, and then you have an ODI series, then again test cricket. So it's a completely different phenomenon altogether now.
Yeah.
And that's why cricket is so challenging as a sport when it comes to managing injuries. Because in football, that you'll be there either for 90 minutes on the pitch, or you'll be there as a substitute, or how much you need to do and when to take off a certain player. When cricket is different, right? Especially with fast bowling, the load on the body is tremendous. And that's how, that's how the dynamics have changed with wearable tech now.
Nice. Okay, you spoke about from the athlete player or player perspective, about the enhancement in the cricketing from broadcaster to this. What all other technology which are coming, like the sneakers or the smart bats, smart balls, or those?
Exactly, I was coming to that as well. Yeah, so that's an interesting point. So I think from a viewing perspective, obviously sneakometer has been there for a while now. We also had something known as the Ultra Edge. Sorry, not the Ultra Edge. The hotspot, which was the infrared cameras which would capture the impact of the ball and stuff. That was one, which was again an expensive technology to use. So that was one. Plus we had so many other techs which is coming and making the viewing experience richer. And now we are coming up with smart bats as well, wherein we have a chip which is installed on the top of the handle, or we have a chip which is just put as a sticker on the bat. That will give you data and insights with related to bat swing as well. So in terms of how quickly the batsman unlocks his position and swings the bat. So that's another rich data which you can get, and then you can derive insights from that data as a bowler where not to bowl to him, because we know Brendan McCullum, for that matter, he had tremendous bat swing. He could charge down the track and he could still generate that kind of power and bat swing which he would do in a standing position. So so that those were kind of insights which will tell you that certain batsmen are comfortable doing this and what not to do. Whereas, as from a coaching standpoint as well, if you have that data, you could actually analyze, what are you going to do with a particular batsman with his given technique. And I think what has changed over the years with cricket, and which has changed tremendously, is the way that how we are looking at players now with different varied techniques. And that's a beauty of the sport, specifically, if
Yeah.
you ask me, that it allows people to come up with their own technique as well. Otherwise you'll not have room for people like Steve Smith or Shivnarayan Chandrapal, or all these guys who are unorthodox,
Yeah.
so as to call, but then they're still scoring runs, right? I mean, they're still doing the job. So that's what cricket brings as a difference when it comes to using that technology and understanding, as well as what a particular player is doing, because ultimately it's all about somebody spoke, some commentator said that technique is all about scoring runs. And that's how, the position that you get into, no matter how you stand, how you move around the crease, that can be analyzed by looking at where you are when the ball is actually under your eye, right? And that's how all these technologies are helping in understanding batting as well. You may not have the most pleasing to the eye technique, but if you look at video footage and analysis, you could see that it's the position that the batsman gets into, right, ultimately. And that's what having multiple cameras, angles, and multiple devices attached to the body helps, and understanding the body movements. Biomechanics is a huge thing in cricket as well, especially with fast bowling. That comes with again, some of it is with wearable tech, some of it is with video or the naked eye as well, in terms of understanding how the bowler is delivering a particular ball, because there again, different bowling actions have different consequences. Some of them are injury prone, some of them are very, very smooth. And so it all depends upon how you look at different actions once again. So, and that's something which got me to also again, when I did that ICC course, I wanted to understand the game in detail. So obviously level 1 is a very, very basic one, but I thought of this this course or this kind of education helping me understand the sport better that I'm playing. Or even if I want to venture out into coaching kids in the future, why not do this and understand how people are coaching others as well. So I think even coaching has changed, if you ask me.
Yeah, exactly. So it is coaching has changed. I was talking to a friend of mine who runs that Smart Bat company, Straight Bat, STR Bat.
Yep.
So they have a sticker in the back of the bat. It shows that which ball was hit which way, and whether the bat came from third slip, second slip, or first slip. And it actually, and that chip actually stores almost 300 balls. The whole 50 overs inning can be stored on that chip. So it's a really, I mean, I again,
phenomenal, right?
There is a cricket ball, the smart ball which has come up now. There was a bat, and
exactly. Yep. Now it's not yet in operation or used in international cricket yet, but it's been trialed, and that's again something which I'm waiting to see how it pans out when it's used in a live game or something like that. So that's very, very interesting.
It all comes with I'm just waiting to see what happens to it when Russell or Gale or Dhoni hits that ball. So
oh yeah, of course.
So
right?
what smartnet does it live with?
Actually. So those are the challenges which come with ball tracking, and that's something which even I think when I was with Catapult, a lot of these people in R&D were doing research on how do we create smart balls, not just in cricket but even basketball or football and stuff. So the challenge was how not to alter the weight of the ball, even by putting in those chips. It should not be drastically different. And it should not, again, when it comes to close contact with the player's body, there should not be any injury scare when it comes to, being in contact with the ball and stuff. So those are different aspects which comes with technology. So there's a lot of R&D which goes into it. And I'm sure that in the future, especially, in the coming years, you'll see a lot of innovations happening in sport and across sport.
Okay. And that gets me to my next segment, next question to you. What do you think is more expected in cricket from technology perspective?
I think the biggest, innovation or area which I feel tech is definitely going to be used, which has a big potential, is calling front foot no balls. I think that's something which is a big talked about point in cricket, with the umpire's role becoming redundant with so much of technology being used, and calling the front foot no balls has always been a challenge, be it this era or previous era, So I think there might be some kind of automation which might be coming into play. In fact, as we speak, there is a company in Australia which is already doing trials with a specific chip installed in the shoe of a fast bowler. So it tells you when the guy is actually crossing the line and, not bowling a no ball or bowling a no ball. So that's something which is being trialed now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something which, of course, this may not be the only way to do it. There might be different technologies in play. And I think that's going to be a very big challenge as well as very big innovation in the cricketing circle. That's what I feel. Apart from that, we have already seen, batsmen's helmet being, fitted with cameras, with microphones. You could hear what's happening on the field. Umpires having cameras on their caps in Big Bash League and stuff. So that's already happening, right? So there might be different cameras. Spider cam has been a big feature now for a few years, which is giving you outstanding output when it comes to viewing viewing what's happening on the pitch, right? So those are some of the innovations. Yeah, from a immediate standpoint, I think that's something which I feel is definitely the need of the hour to call front foot no balls. That's something which is required. Another thing could be, that's again a thorn in the flesh when it comes to cricket, right? Judging those catches which are closer to the ground, right? How do we make sure that it's not hitting the ground or the fingers are under the ball? Because it gives you only a 2D image, right? So it doesn't give you a 3D image. So how do we look at, some kind of technology which might be, or some kind of a camera angle, which might tell you exactly what's happened there, whether the catch was clean or no. So those are some challenging aspects in cricket, the no ball factor, which I spoke about, and this one. So which could see some kind of innovation in the near future. And, so to make the game more richer as well as, fairer, if I could say so, in terms of, judging if it's A or B,
Yeah, but with so much of technology, don't you think that the cricket was known to be a gentleman's game where people need to believe each other and trust each other, and you have to believe, or you have to umpire decision final. Even if you're playing gully cricket, we say umpire ne bola out to out. So that is what we grew up with, right? So it is. Don't you think so much of technology will take the humanness out of it, and Sophia can actually be an umpire, and we don't need any of the umpires standing there?
Yeah, so honestly, if you ask me, I'm not a big fan of replacing umpires with technology. Like I said, I don't want that to happen. And once again, I'll reiterate that, that technology is only there as a facilitator, as a helper.
Yes.
It's not there to replace. Ultimately, sport is played by humans. Sport is judged by humans. Technology cannot judge sport overall at the end of the day. It can only show you a score line, but ultimately somebody scoring that is a human. Right, so that aspect will always always be there forever. But yeah, again, it has to be a healthy mix of what you can do and what you can't do. So that's the way I look at it. And I'm not a big fan of technology replacing umpires. Like I said, it's just that if something can be there to assist them, why not use it, right? Because if you see DRS, it has been a complete game changer. And you spoke about gentleman's game, right? Honestly, if you ask me, it used to be a gentleman's game, say about 50-60 years back, but now it's highly competitive, right? Now people are going cutthroat for each other, right? It's become a profession. It's not a sport anymore. It's all about how do you give your best for your country, how do you make your team win, right? So on the field, that's what it is.
But what can you still? I think there has to be some technology which going to replace the Duckworth Lewis.
That's if we talk about that topic, we could go on and on for 2 days and not come with a proper solution. I think so it is a challenge. Yes, I won't deny that. I wouldn't say it's a foolproof method in any form. It is subjective. It takes in past data, which is also not a clear indicator because the game is evolving. Game has changed from what it was 10 years back. Now totals in excess of 330 are being chased down any day in cricket, right? In ODI cricket. Plus, in Test cricket, it's completely changed now. So obviously, Duckworth Lewis doesn't work in Test, but then I'm talking about ODIs, wherein, or even T20s, especially in T20s, Duckworth Lewis is a very, very unfair means to kind of, because a 5-over contest is.
And if you're South African, it's always killer.
Oh my God, yeah. Let's not even get into that. But one good thing is at least, now teams are more aware of Duckworth Lewis, compared to say 10 years or 12 years or 20 years back, now everything is being displayed on the scoreboard wherein, you know where you need to be at the end of the next over or at the end of 20 overs. So at least from that perspective, teams are being calculative. They are much more aware. It doesn't come to them as a surprise. Oh my God, we didn't have to lose so many wickets
Yeah.
at this stage. So, they have a sheet, as well as, the captains are carrying sheets with them
Yeah.
in their pockets. So after every over, they check, where do they need to be as a fielding team to win as a Duckworth Lewis method. So, all that is being, completely changing the dynamics of the game now.
Right. So, and okay, so we spoke about technology. I always have a problem with cricket, even though I love cricket. Is the cricket is taking fan for granted? It is still not taken the fan. It has not still understood what fan needs. The fans are coming irrespective of whatever happens. So, what do you think is going to happen? Because the newer generation is what Caribbean had a problem, right? There was a major part of the one generation did not play cricket for them. They moved to baseball and basketball and everything, right? So in India also we might see the situation where football is getting picked up, and yes, every sport has to grow. But what do you think? One statement from you. What do you think the cricket has to do to engage more and more fan and grow to next level?
Interesting. So I think for starters, and I'll not focus only on India. I think from a global perspective, I feel that the game, So I think the game has to grow beyond these 8 to 10 countries which are playing as the primary nations. The associate nation cricket needs to grow for sure. Which I think the ICC is also doing a lot of job with regards to promoting associate nation cricket, and they're doing a lot of stuff with regards to growing the game in different countries. I think last year we had a European Premier League which happened, which was quite successful. We being in Canada, I've seen how cricket in Canada is. The standard is pretty high. But now, if you ask me, the USA cricket, board is growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Cricket in the US is now becoming a huge sport, and the team is doing really well as well.
Yeah.
And plus, in the smaller nations and the smaller countries, the sport is growing as well. But yeah, I agree that it has to be more from a perspective of educating people and getting more fans, and that needs to be done on a global level, not just in these test playing nations. Because there the game is as it is popular. But how do we get people to take notice of what's happening as a sport in other countries, right? Cricket as a sport. So I think one good initiative which happened, a couple of years back, and even last year, was India and West Indies playing in Florida. So in a non-cricket playing non-regular venue, so those kind of things can happen. We used to have Sahara Cup back in the 90s in Canada. I think that those kind of initiatives need to start again. So I think that's how you grow the game. Exactly. Yeah. So those kind of initiatives need to come up again. So that's how the game will grow, and that's what I feel. And the fan, it will not be just the average fan sitting in your home nation or your test playing nation who's following the sport. If you ask me, Test cricket is being under so-called danger with fans not being or not coming to the stadium, right? Especially in a few countries. Australia it still does, England it still does, but other countries, even in India and certain venues, yes. But yeah, other countries are facing a paucity of fans when it comes to watching the game. So I think there needs to be an education around why Test cricket is important, and maybe get school kids to come for free, come and watch the game.
Yeah,
that's how you'll grow the game, right? So instead of having empty stands, anyways, why not get school kids? Why not make it a festive environment in a Test cricket game? Not just for the because we need to understand as administrators or the global bodies of the game that it's not just about the purists who understand or enjoy Test cricket. It's also, you need to also understand the mindset of the current generation, how they think, how they perceive sport, and how do we make it an enriching experience for them. So that's the way I think to grow the sport and grow the fans across.
Correct. And also it's not a question, but I also had a thought that cricket is the only game where it get played between the countries and not a league which goes on for a long time. Other sports, they play in the countries as friendlies or the World Cup.
Yes.
But throughout the year, it's a league that happens, and that's where the more engagement happens.
Exactly. So, and I think that's where, if you ask me, and you're absolutely right, and that's why T20 cricket has a huge potential to grow cricket beyond the test playing nations.
Correct.
Right. And that's something which is a concept can be introduced even in the Olympics, right? Why not? So that's a huge potential to grow the sport, outside the test playing nations. So
Yes.
I think that's why T20 is becoming a game changer, because it's short, it's 3 hours, and people can invest time to view it, and it brings excitement, it brings a lot of different things. Yeah, for a purist, I would definitely love test cricket over T20s, but I don't mind watching a T20 game as long as it's not overdone, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be a balance maintained when it comes to promoting the sport.
Yeah. So wonderful. I think we can actually go on talking about cricket
On
a
and
lot,
on.
on and on and on. And I can
Yeah.
see the Cherry and Timber Talk logo behind you, and it's a wonderful
Oh,
show
yeah.
that you started.
Thank you. I
It's
mean, that's something which has come out of passion, and it's just that we love to talk about the game, and I
yeah.
would love to have you on the show sometime as well to get
You
a
call
different
me.
perspective on cricket.
Yes, it's looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. I remember giving
Sure.
my message on Sachin's birthday, and that was the whole
Oh yes,
passion
that was
pouring out of
wonderful,
me.
right? Oh yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep.
So great job on the Cherry and Timber Talk. I think it's a different way of looking at it. I think your analytical mind
Mm.
about cricket and the passion is, I think, combining together to come out and talking about this topic. So
Yep.
and we'll talk more. And for now, I think just taking a logical pause where we can probably move on
Mm.
to something else sooner. But for
Mm.
now, I think
Yep.
really great talking to you, Venu. Amazing, and stay safe, take care, and hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sid. My pleasure, and yeah, lovely talking to you once again.
Yes. Thank you, buddy. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and follow our handle Sportsy Says across all social media platforms. Please help us spread the word about Sportsy. Let's talk sports. Do subscribe on Sportsy Says.